Close your eyes. Sink into the silence of the night. There, somewhere between the weight of sleep and the release of consciousness, you begin to drift. Images appear. Unfamiliar places. Faces you've never met. Symbols. Warnings. Longing. Sometimes peace. Sometimes terror. And then you wake up. A part of you remembers. Another part pretends it doesn't. We've been told dreams are just mental noise, that they're the brain's way of defragmenting memory, organizing random thoughts, a byproduct of neural chemistry. But if that were the full truth, let me ask you, why do some dreams feel more real than waking life? Why do people on opposite ends of the planet report the same dream with the same symbols, despite never meeting or speaking? Why have rulers, warriors, prophets, and sages across history treated dreams not as illusions, but as messages? What if your dreams are not born inside your brain at all? What if they are broadcasts sent to you, through you, from somewhere else? This is not about dream interpretation in the pop psychology sense. This is not about dreaming of flying means you crave freedom. No, this is about a darker, deeper, more complex truth. Your dreams might be the only time you are not alone, because in dreams you are most open, most unguarded, most accessible. And if there are forces, beings, realities beyond your waking comprehension, then they would choose the one time you cannot say no to whisper to you. This video is an investigation into that possibility, not to tell you what to believe, but to show you just enough that you start to wonder, who's dreaming through me? Where do I go when I close my eyes? And more importantly, who's waiting there? Welcome to Hidden Truths. Tonight, we pull back the curtain on what you thought was just sleep, because your dreams may not be yours. Why some people dream the future, and what it means. We've all heard the stories. The woman who dreams her brother is in a car accident only to receive the call the next morning. The soldier who sees a vivid vision of an ambush before it happens. The child who describes a building collapse down to the minute, days before it occurs. Coincidence? Memory tricks? Or is there something more? Let's start with the obvious. Science doesn't like prophecy, because the future, by definition, hasn't happened yet. And modern science is built on what can be observed, measured, and replicated. But precognitive dreams don't fit that mold. They're spontaneous, non-repeatable, and often emotionally charged. Yet, they keep happening. So, how do we explain this? Theory 1. The brain as an antenna. What if the brain doesn't just think, but receives? Some physicists and philosophers have proposed that consciousness is not produced by the brain, but channeled through it, like a radio tuning into frequencies. If that's true, then dreams could be signal bleed. Moments where your brain, unburdened by logic or distraction, tunes into frequencies outside time. Because time, according to Einstein and quantum mechanics, is not a strict line. It bends, folds, loops, and just maybe, in the right state, we can accidentally access echoes from tomorrow. You don't need a time machine. You just need to stop thinking like a waking human. Dreams do that for you. Theory 2. The emotional bridge. Many future dreams are tied to intense emotional events, deaths, disasters, reunions. Why? Emotion might be the bridge, the carrier signal that allows a glimpse into another time. A mother senses her child's pain across the ocean. A dog howls minutes before its owner dies. A dreamer sees fire before the sirens wail. These moments don't follow Newtonian cause and effect. They follow entanglement, a concept in quantum physics where two particles, once connected, remain linked regardless of distance. What if people are like that too? What if love, grief, fear keep us connected beyond time? Dreams might simply be the one time we're quiet enough to feel the thread. Case studies that defy explanation. In 1966, a 10-year-old boy in Wales had a nightmare of children being buried in black sludge. He was hysterical. The next day, the Aberfan coal disaster killed 144 people, most of them schoolchildren. Mark Twain dreamed of his brother's death in a steamboat explosion, down to the casket, the flowers, even the position of the body. It happened days later. Abraham Lincoln told his wife of a dream in which he wandered the White House and found a covered body being mourned. A soldier told him the president was assassinated. A week later, he was dead. There are thousands of these stories. They span cultures, religions, ages, belief systems, and science still doesn't know why. So, what does this mean? If dreams can sometimes show us the future, we must ask, who is showing it to us? Is it the universe sending warnings? Is it our higher self breaking the veil of time? Or is someone or something trying to change our path? Here's the unsettling thought. What if the dream isn't just a preview, but a test? To see if you'll listen, to see if you'll act, to see if you can be moved. Because maybe the future isn't set in stone. Maybe it's offered to you like a whispered choice while you sleep. And whether you remember the dream or not, maybe the outcome depends on whether your soul remembers. Shared dreaming, when two minds enter the same dream. Imagine waking up and saying to someone, "That was the strangest dream I had last night." And they reply, "Wait, I was there too." This isn't a movie plot. It's a documented, recurring phenomenon. It's called shared dreaming, when two or more people have the same dream at the same time, often involving the same setting, the same people, even the same events. It challenges our most basic assumption that dreams are personal, sealed inside the skull, inaccessible to others. Because if two people can enter the same dream, then dreams are not private. They're places. Case 1. The twin phenomenon. Twins often report dreaming of each other in real time. One twin dreams the other is in danger, only to find out the next day that it really happened. Some dream of the same symbols, the same scenarios, even when living across continents. You could explain this as emotional intuition, a twin bond. But what about strangers? Case 2. Strangers, same dream. On online forums, Reddit threads, and dream research groups, people share chilling stories. Two roommates dream of a black staircase that leads to a room with no ceiling. Neither had ever seen it before. A couple dreams of being chased by the same shadow figure on the same night, despite sleeping in separate locations. Thousands of users on dream forums report dreaming of the man with no face or the room of doors without ever having read each other's stories. What explains this? Are we all pulling from a collective unconscious, as Carl Jung proposed, a deep well of ancient symbols and experiences shared by all humanity? Or are there fixed locations in the dream world, spiritual or interdimensional spaces that we can all access under certain conditions. Theory: dreams as frequency rooms. What if consciousness is like a radio signal? At night, as the brain shuts down sensory input, it starts scanning frequencies. Some people end up in isolated channels. Others land on shared stations, broadcast fields where multiple minds converge. These stations may not be made by the dreamers. They might be pre-existing spaces, like shared dream hubs, psychic nodes, or dimensional pockets. Ever wondered why certain dreamscapes feel so familiar, even if you've never seen them in waking life? Maybe because you've been there before, or because millions of others have. Scientific glimpse: dream incubation experiments. In sleep labs, researchers have conducted dream incubation experiments, giving multiple participants the same prompt, like a story, image, or sound, before sleep. What they found: a surprising number of participants dreamed of the same symbols or settings, far beyond random chance. This hints that our minds may be more susceptible to collective influence during sleep, that dreams are porous, that what you dream may be influenced, even invaded, by others. Which leads to a chilling question: who else is in the room? If you can share a dream with a human being, could you also share it with something non-human? If multiple minds can access the same dream field, who controls the architecture of that field? Who decides what the symbols mean? And what if some of those minds are older, stranger, more manipulative than our own? What if some of your dreams are not shared, but inserted? Not by mistake, but by design. The language of symbols. How dreams speak in forgotten tongues. You're running, but you're not sure why. You open a door, and behind it is an ocean. A black bird lands on your shoulder. Your childhood home melts into a forest of glass. None of this makes sense, but it feels heavy, loaded, as if every object is saying something without words. Welcome to the true language of dreams: symbolism. Why dreams don't speak in sentences. Your waking mind is addicted to logic, words, grammar, linear thought. But your subconscious doesn't speak that way. It paints, it sculpts, it choreographs. Dreams are not explained, they are felt. And the reason is simple. Symbols are older than language. Before humans wrote books, they carved serpents into stone. Before alphabets, there were spirals, stars, and eyes etched into caves. Symbols are universal, emotional, and deeply encoded into our psyche. So when your dream shows you a staircase, a key, a shadow, or a flame, it's not random. It's communication, just in a tongue we've forgotten how to read. Ancient cultures knew this. In ancient Egypt, dreams were seen as divine messages from the gods, wrapped in symbolic form. A snake didn't just mean danger, it could mean rebirth. Water didn't just mean drowning, it could mean cleansing or crossing into the spirit world. The Mesopotamians recorded dreams on clay tablets, believing they came from the divine council. In Greece, Aristotle and Plato debated whether dreams were messages from the soul or tricks from another realm. And Native American tribes treated dreams as maps, showing where the soul had traveled while the body slept. In all these systems, the dream was not nonsense. It was code, and the symbols were keys. How is it that cultures separated by oceans all revere the snake, the circle, the ladder, the mirror? Because these aren't just cultural, they're archetypal. They emerge from the same unconscious depth Carl Jung called the collective unconscious, a psychic inheritance of symbols shared by all human beings. It's why the staircase often represents spiritual ascent. The mirror reflects self-awareness or hidden truths. The forest represents the unknown, the chaotic, the wild. The bird represents freedom or messages from the beyond. The flood represents overwhelming emotion or divine cleansing. You don't need to learn this. You already know it. That's why dreams feel so familiar, even when completely surreal. Your soul remembers the language. It's your brain that forgot. Are these symbols sent or received? Here's the twist. What if these symbols are not generated by your mind, but delivered? Just like how software runs the same way on different computers, dream symbols might be a universal operating system, sent from a source outside yourself. A system designed to trigger insight, deliver warnings, test readiness, or even manipulate. Because if a force wanted to reach you without your permission, without being detected, it wouldn't knock on your door. It would use symbols. Symbols that bypass logic, that embed themselves in your psyche like a seed. And then it would wait until the right moment for the dream to become memory, for the memory to become action. So what should you do? Start treating your dreams like conversations, not confusion. Instead of asking, "What did I dream?" ask, "What was the symbol? What emotion was tied to it? What part of me responded? And who gave me that message?" Because the more you pay attention, the more they show up. And once you learn the grammar of the dream world, you might realize someone's been speaking to you this whole time. Dreams as gateways, where the soul travels when you sleep. When your body shuts down, your consciousness doesn't. You may lie still in bed, wrapped in blankets and silence, but something deeper in you continues. It moves, it watches, it leaves. Have you ever woken from a dream and felt like you'd been somewhere? Not just imagined it, but been there. Like your body had stayed, but you had traveled? Ancient cultures didn't call this dreaming. They called it soul travel. Ancient belief: sleep is a door. Across time and civilization, one idea keeps echoing. Sleep is not rest, it is transition. A sacred moment where the boundaries between the physical and the spiritual thin, just enough for something to slip through. In shamanic traditions of the Amazon, dreams are seen as journeys of the soul, visiting other realms to receive guidance. In Tibetan Buddhism, dream yoga teaches the practice of remaining conscious within the dream, not for fun, but to explore the dimensions beyond the material. In Aboriginal Australian belief, the dream time isn't a myth, it's the origin of all reality, a place you return to in sleep where you reconnect with ancestors, spirits, and the true fabric of the universe. In these traditions, dreams are not psychological, they are geographical. You go somewhere, you meet someone, you return, changed. Where does the soul go? There are whispers of dream realms, not just in culture, but in personal experience. Many describe recurring dream landscapes, the city of shifting staircases, the endless hallway with identical doors, the bridge that leads to nowhere, the train station with no trains, the sky that turns into water. Why do these places recur across dreamers, across continents? Are they just brain patterns? Or are they locations in a dimension our waking minds can't perceive? If the soul leaves during sleep, it may not wander aimlessly. It may return to places it knows, or places it's being called to. Some of these may be healing realms where spiritual restoration happens, echo chambers where past lives or memories replay, testing grounds where you're given choices, traps where something waits to tether you. And that last category is the most dangerous. What draws the soul in? Not all dream journeys are initiated by the dreamer. Sometimes the traveler doesn't choose to travel. They are summoned. Ever had a dream where you felt pulled somewhere? Where you knew you weren't in control? Where the environment felt too designed, as if someone else was watching how you react? These are not dreams. They are invitations, or worse, tests. Some believe beings from other planes use dreams to reach us, not physically, but energetically. They can't walk into your room, but they can lure your soul into their world, and once you're there, you're vulnerable. Waking up tired isn't just physical. Have you ever woken up exhausted, even after a full night's sleep? Not sleepy, not groggy, but drained, as if you fought a battle, as if you carried something heavy, as if you had been somewhere dark. This is more common than you think. Some believe the soul is pulled into lower planes, realms of confusion, loss, or even parasitic entities. And while you might not remember the dream, your body remembers the cost. You wake up with the residue of something your conscious mind has no access to. But your soul remembers. It always does. How to protect your journey? If sleep is travel, then you need armor. You wouldn't walk into an unknown city without a map, right? Create rituals before sleep. Light, breath, intention. Guard your subconscious from violent or chaotic media before bed. Keep symbols of protection near your bed, objects with meaning to you. And most importantly, pay attention. The more you remember, the more power you have, because if the dream world is a realm, then you are a traveler, and travelers who wander blindly rarely return whole. They visit you in dreams, while the unseen prefer the night. There's something unsettling about the dark, not the absence of light, but the presence of something else. And in your dreams, when the logic of day dissolves and the doors of perception swing wide open, that something steps through. Across cultures, across time, there have always been stories of visitors, beings that don't knock on your front door. They knock on the inside of your mind. The dream visitor archetype. You've probably met one. Maybe they had no face. Maybe they stood silently at the edge of your vision. Maybe they spoke in riddles or simply watched. These figures are not always threatening, but they're never random. From shadow people to hooded guides, from beautiful strangers to monstrous observers, dream visitors have appeared for thousands of years in the dreams of pharaohs, monks, kings, and ordinary people alike. And no matter who sees them, one thing is constant. They know things you don't. They appear at specific moments, and they leave a mark. But who or what are they? There are many theories. 1. Spiritual guides or ancestors. Some believe these visitors are benevolent forces, your ancestors, spirit guides, or higher self, coming to offer protection, healing, or direction. They may not use words. They may simply appear, emit a feeling, or gesture toward something. They don't force, they nudge. You wake up changed without knowing why. 2. Manifestations of your shadow. Carl Jung called the shadow self the unconscious parts of you, your fears, traumas, denied truths. Sometimes the visitor in your dream is you, a version you've buried, a version that only shows up when your defenses are down. These visitations aren't pleasant, but they are often transformational. 3. Non-human entities. And here is where it gets darker. Many cultures speak of dream demons, interdimensional beings, or watchers who enter the dream state to feed, to influence, or to attach. In sleep paralysis accounts, people often report a dark figure in the corner of the room, watching, pressing, whispering. But these experiences aren't limited to paralysis. Many people describe recurring visitors, same face, same presence, night after night. The most chilling part? These beings often leave you with real physical sensations upon waking. The pressure on your chest, the chill in the room, the echo of a whisper you never heard with your ears. Why the night? Why do they come when we sleep? Because you can't resist. In waking life, you have walls, distractions, logic, will. But when you dream, your defenses collapse, your gates open, and that's when the visitors prefer to speak. Some don't need words. They communicate through images, emotions, symbols. Some test you, some tempt, some simply observe, like researchers in the lab. But all of them have one thing in common. They know you can't stop them unless you become aware. What can you do? Lucid dreaming can shift the power balance. Once you realize you're dreaming, you gain control. Asking questions within the dream can break scripted interactions. Ask, who are you? Why are you here? You might be surprised at the answer. Recognize recurring figures. If the same visitor appears multiple times, that's not chance, that's an agenda. Protect your space before sleep. Ritual, prayer, intention, whatever grounds you, create a boundary. Because the truth is uncomfortable but vital. Not everything that enters your dreams is from you. Some come with messages, some come with warnings, and some come to stay. When dreams cross dimensions, are we slipping between realities? You dream you're in a city you've never seen, yet somehow you know every street. You speak a language you've never learned, but it rolls off your tongue as if you've spoken it forever. And sometimes you wake up with a feeling that's hard to shake. I didn't just dream that, I was there. What if dreams aren't just illusions of the mind, but moments when the veil between worlds thins and you accidentally step through? The theory of parallel realities. Modern physics is no longer shy about the idea of multiple dimensions. Quantum theory, string theory, and the multiverse hypothesis all suggest a profound possibility that reality is not singular, that there are countless versions of existence, stacked, overlapping, coexisting. Most of the time, we're locked into just one, but dreams might be the exception. When your consciousness detaches from the physical body during REM sleep, it may not simply wander, it may drift sideways. Not up, not down, but into another version of reality. A reality where you made a different choice. Someone you lost is still alive. The sky has 2 moons. Technology evolved differently. You are someone else. These aren't hallucinations. They're echoes of worlds just out of reach. And sometimes we fall into them. The Mandela effect? Collective memory from elsewhere? Ever heard of the Mandela effect? It's the phenomenon where large groups of people remember the same thing, incorrectly, but exactly the same way. Like the Monopoly man having a monocle. He doesn't. Febreze being spelled Febreze. It's not. The death of Nelson Mandela in prison. He lived until 2013. What if these shared mismemories aren't mistakes? What if they are residues from a different timeline, one we collectively slipped out of? And if we can slip between timelines in waking life, imagine what we do in dreams. Dreaming the lives of others or other yous? Have you ever dreamed of being someone else? Not playing a role, but fully believing it was you. You had a different face, a different family, a different life, but in the dream, it was normal. It was your life. You didn't question it until you woke up. Many experience this, and the feeling is so vivid, so right, it haunts them for days. But what if these aren't metaphors? What if you're experiencing the consciousness of a parallel version of yourself? You're not imagining, you're syncing, like tuning into another frequency, another version of you living a life that could have been yours. And when you return, you carry fragments, memories that don't belong to this world, feelings that don't make sense, skills you never learned but now vaguely recall. This isn't fantasy. This is dimensional bleed. Why we don't remember. Most people dismiss these dreams upon waking because they don't fit. They're too vivid, too logical, too strange. But the truth is, you forget because you must. Your waking brain isn't equipped to hold multiple realities, so it protects itself by deleting the impossible. But your soul remembers. That's why some dreams never fade. They echo. And sometimes, late at night, when the world is still, you feel the pull. Back to the place you don't remember. Back to the you that never was. Or maybe still is. So, what now? Don't dismiss your dreams, especially the ones that feel too real. Keep a journal. Track the landscapes, the people, the patterns. Ask, could this be elsewhere? Because the boundary between worlds is not as solid as we were told. And in your sleep, you might not be escaping this world. You might be visiting another. Why you forget? Who erases your dreams, and why? You wake up. Your heart is pounding. You know you just dreamed something important, maybe even life-changing. But 30 seconds later, it's gone. Vanished like mist in sunlight. Only the emotion remains. Fear, awe, sadness, or something you can't name. But the details? Erased. Why does this keep happening? Most people assume it's normal, just how dreams work. But what if forgetting isn't a flaw of the brain? What if it's deliberate? What if something or someone doesn't want you to remember? Brain apology. Science gives us a neat answer. The hippocampus, the part of the brain that stores memories, is less active during REM sleep, so the brain simply doesn't record dreams the way it does waking experiences. Sounds logical, but here's the problem. Some people remember dreams with photorealistic detail, even years later. Others forget instantly, even after intense or traumatic dreams. And in some cases, people wake up with full recall, only to feel it fade while they're still awake, like a file being deleted in real time. This isn't forgetting, it's removal. who or what might be erasing? Let's explore a few chilling possibilities. 1. Your own mind is protecting you. Your subconscious may be filtering content it believes you're not ready to face. Just like the body goes into shock to survive physical trauma, the mind may black out certain dream content to protect your sanity. But who decides what you're ready for? If your deeper self is censoring the truth, then your dream life may be a battlefield between curiosity and defense. 2. Something doesn't want to be seen. Some dreams are encounters with visitors, with symbols, with events that change you. But what if the other side, whatever it is, requires secrecy? If a being enters your dream to test, manipulate, or guide you, they may have ways to ensure you don't bring their presence back into waking life. Think about it. What better way to influence someone than through a message they won't remember, but that still shapes them? Not remembered, just felt. An idea, a fear, a desire that wasn't yours yesterday. 3. Dimensional laws. If dreams are visits to other realms or parallel realities, then maybe memory is the price of access. Like a customs checkpoint between worlds, your mind might be forced to drop certain baggage before re-entering this one. Not by choice, but by rule. You can pass through the door, but what you saw stays behind. Unless you learn how to break the rules. Why some dreams do stay. Every so often, a dream refuses to fade. You remember it for years. It returns night after night. It echoes in waking moments. Or it predicts something that later comes true. Why? Because some dreams pierce through the veil. They are not erased because they are meant to be remembered, either by you or by something that wants to be remembered through you. These are the dreams that matter, the ones you should write down, the ones that don't let you go. And sometimes they're the ones you didn't dream, but were given. Can you stop the forgetting? Yes, but it takes intention. Before sleep, set the command, I will remember my dreams. Keep a journal by your bed. Write immediately upon waking. Don't move when you wake. Even small shifts can disrupt recall. Track emotional residue. If the details are gone, the emotion is a map. Draw symbols even if you can't explain them. Your unconscious remembers more than your words. And ask yourself, why did something try to make me forget this? Because behind that forgotten dream may lie the truth they didn't want you to carry back. The recurring dream. Are you being watched, tested, or warned? You've been here before. That hallway, that staircase, that impossible sky. You've run this path, heard that voice, touched that door that never opens. Maybe it's once a week, maybe once a year, but it always comes back, like a haunting or a reminder. This is not just a dream, this is a loop. What makes a dream repeat? Scientists say recurring dreams are caused by unresolved psychological tension, anxieties, traumas, internal conflicts. Your brain plays the same scene over and over because it hasn't solved the problem yet. But there's a deeper, stranger truth. Many recurring dreams don't come from your past. They come with symbols you've never seen before, languages you don't speak, places that don't exist yet feel more real than the waking world. So ask yourself, if you're looping through something that's not even yours, who built the loop? Possibility 1. You're being observed. Some dreams feel like stages. You move through rooms like a character. Things happen to you, not from you. You sense a presence watching from just out of frame, not malevolent, not kind, just curious. This may not be your dream. You may be part of someone else's experiment. Recurring dreams could be structured tests to see how you react, to measure fear, decision, resistance. Ever notice how you make slightly different choices in each version, like you're being graded? What if someone or something is gathering data, not from your waking life, but from your most vulnerable state? Possibility 2. You're being warned. Some recurring dreams are loud, urgent, prophetic. A wave always crashing, but never reaching you. A car always swerving, but never hitting. A voice always calling, but never clear. These dreams come with urgency, but never clarity. Because they're not teaching, they're signaling. They may be fragments of a future trying to break through, or echoes of something you've forgotten, deliberately or by force. And they don't stop until you listen. Possibility 3. You're repeating a cycle. In esoteric traditions, some believe we carry patterns across lives, timelines, even realities. Recurring dreams in this view aren't messages. They're memories of loops your soul hasn't broken. The hallway you can't escape, the voice you never answer, the figure you always chase but never catch. It's not because you're weak, it's because you're trapped. Not by chains, but by repetition. And the dream is both the prison and the key. Until you act differently, ask a new question, walk a different path, the loop resets, over and over, night after night. Unlock the pattern. Recognize the repetition. Awareness is the first crack in the loop. Keep a dream map. Track changes. Look for patterns. What doesn't change is the clue. Interrupt the flow. If you always run, stop. If you always watch, speak. If you always lose, refuse. Ask within the dream, who built this? The answer may not come in words, but something will shift. Set a new intention before sleep. Reclaim the dream. Say, tonight I will choose. Because here's the truth no one tells you. A recurring dream is not a glitch. It's a door that refuses to stay closed. And the one knocking on the other side might be you, or something that's been waiting for your answer. The dream architect. Who designs what you see when you sleep? Have you ever wondered who chooses the setting of your dream? Why this street, this room, this version of your childhood home with stairs that never existed? Why that one person you haven't thought of in years suddenly appears at the center of it all? You didn't plan the dream. You didn't write the script. But someone or something did. So the question is, who is the architect of your inner worlds? 1. The common assumption, you are. Modern psychology tells us dreams are the byproduct of your subconscious, a chaotic collage of memories, emotions, fragments stitched together without logic. But if that's true, why do some dreams follow perfect structure, with rising tension, climax, and resolution? Why are some settings consistently detailed, like pre-built worlds you merely visit? Why do people experience the same dream symbols, the same layouts, the same faces, even when they've never met? This isn't random. This is design. 2. Option 1. Your mind has a hidden designer. Some neuroscientists believe there's a part of your brain more ancient than memory, a primal storyteller buried deep in the limbic system. It doesn't speak in words, it speaks in archetypes. It may be the part of you that knows more than you know, the part that carries genetic memory, spiritual residue, ancestral echoes. This dream architect within you builds dreams not from last week's worries, but from timeless patterns. But if it's part of you, why do so many dreams feel like they're not from you at all? 3. Option 2. External architects, beyond the mind. What if the architect is not inside you? Dream shamans, mystics, and even modern remote viewers speak of dream construction as a deliberate broadcast, as if dreams are injected spaces created by an outside intelligence for you to walk through. Sometimes these dreams teach, sometimes they test, sometimes they extract. This leads to a disturbing possibility that not all dreams are dreams. Some are simulations, crafted, timed, and inserted for a reason. You are not the builder. You are the subject, and the dream is the experiment. 4. The architect leaves clues. If someone or something is designing your dream, who chooses the timing? Who places the mirror in the corner of the room? Who brings back your dead grandmother to say one cryptic sentence? Who gives the dog glowing eyes? Who decided the sky would be purple this time? Think about this. Your waking life is full of entropy and chaos, but dreams? Dreams often have themes, layers, emotional precision. That's not randomness. That's deliberate arrangement, like someone carefully crafting a stage, then placing you at the center to see how you move. 5. Can you meet the architect? Some lucid dreamers report reaching the edge of the dream, where things stop rendering, where the sky glitches, where background characters freeze, where they confront a presence, vast, calm, watching. When asked, "Who are you?" the answers vary. "I am the one who watches. This is your test. You called me." Or sometimes, silence and a sudden forced awakening. If this is real, then there is a consciousness behind the construction, not yours, not random, but in control. And maybe the architect doesn't always want to be seen. 6. What you can do. Practice lucid awareness. Question the world within your dream. Ask, who built this? Look for repetition. Architects reuse patterns. If a symbol returns, it's probably placed there. Trace the emotional signature. Some dreams feel foreign, like a room that smells wrong. That may be your first clue. Challenge the dream. Break the mirror. Open the locked door. Refuse to play the role. Because the more you resist passivity, the more you stop being a subject and start becoming a participant. And maybe, one day, you'll find the blueprint and the one who drew it. The final question. If dreams are messages, then what are they trying to say? Let's say everything so far is true, that your dreams are not illusions, not random, not meaningless, that they're built with symbols, structured with precision, and maybe even whispered into your mind by forces beyond comprehension. Then the question isn't how it happens, it's why. Why are you being shown what you're shown? Why now? Why you? Because behind every dream, especially the ones that linger, disturb, or haunt, there is a message. but it's never spoken directly. It's coded, encrypted, wrapped in imagery, emotion, and fragments, and it's up to you to decode it before it's too late. Are they trying to wake you up? Some dreams scream at you with subtlety. A burning house, a child you've never met begging you to remember, a countdown with no clock, a mirror that reflects not you, but what you've become. These dreams often carry urgency, not to scare, but to shake. They're not about the dream, they're about your life, your choices, the path you're on. They are interventions from your higher self, from your ancestors, from something that sees more than you do. And they only keep coming because you're not listening. Are they trying to warn you? Prophetic dreams don't always show the future. Sometimes they show what will happen if nothing changes. A repeated car crash dream might not mean death. It might mean a pattern is killing your freedom. A dream of drowning might not mean water. It might mean emotional suffocation. The message isn't literal. It's symbolic survival. Something or someone is showing you the consequence so you can rewrite it before it arrives. But here's the danger. If you ignore the message too many times, the dream will stop. Not because you're safe, but because it's already too late. Are you being shown a loop you must break? Dreams often reflect cycles. The relationship that keeps ending the same way. The career that keeps draining your soul. The mask that you keep wearing until even you forget your face. The message isn't new. It's repeated because you haven't acted. Dreams don't change unless you do. And sometimes the message is this simple. Wake up while you still can. Are they being reminded of who you are? Some dreams feel holy. They don't scare, they remember. You see yourself as a child again, pure, joyful, unburdened. You meet a version of yourself that feels true. You stand before a light that speaks in feeling, not sound. You don't want to leave, but you must, because you must. These dreams carry a different message. You've forgotten who you are, but we haven't. They're not warnings, they're reminders, echoes of something eternal. And when you wake, you feel it, that sense of being homesick for a place you've never been. So what are they saying? Here's the truth. Every dream is trying to tell you one of three things. Look deeper. There's something within you, buried, denied, or forgotten, that must be faced. Change direction. You are walking toward a reality that can still be escaped, but not for long. Or remember your origin. You are more than this body, this job, this life. There's a bigger story, and your soul remembers it. Not all dreams carry all messages, but all dreams carry something. Even the confusing ones, even the scary ones, especially the ones you try to forget. Because the moment you treat your dreams not as noise, but as language, everything shifts. You realize you're not being haunted, you're being called. Your dreams are not yours, but they may still be for you. You go to bed every night thinking you're escaping the world, escaping the noise, the pressure, the endless demands of waking life. But sleep is not an escape, it's an entry into a realm that does not obey your logic, that does not ask your permission, and that may not have your fingerprints on its creation at all. Your dreams, the ones you barely remember, the ones that shake you awake, the ones that return like echoes from a place you never named, they are not accidents, they are communications. From where? We still don't know. From who? That depends on the night. They may come from the deepest parts of you, the places you've buried, denied, or forgotten. They may come from your ancestors, watching through the walls of memory. They may come from parallel realities, from future selves, from dimensions your waking brain will never touch. Or they may come from something else entirely, something you didn't invite, something that only arrives when the lights go out. But one thing is certain, they're not random, they're targeted, they're crafted, they are for you, even if they are not from you. What will you do with this? You can go back to sleep. Tell yourself it's just dreams, just neurons, just stress, just fiction. Or you can begin to listen, to record, to decode. You can become an investigator of the night, a student of symbols, a keeper of thresholds. You can start asking dangerous questions. Is who visited me last night? Why do I keep seeing the same door? What part of me am I not listening to? What am I being warned about before it's too late? And if you're brave enough to follow the trail, you may one day find what most people never will. The voice behind the veil, the hand behind the image, the architect behind the maze. Not to expose it, not to control it, but simply to say, I see you now, and I'm ready to listen. Because in the end, your dreams may not be yours, but they just might be the only thing trying to save you.